Dreamforce. It's our biggest event of the year, and this year, instead of you coming to Dreamforce is coming to you. With a celebratory keynote, a week-long learning event, and personalized meetings, this year's Dreamforce will be a chance to come together, share stories from this challenging year, and celebrate companies who are succeeding in our new work from anywhere world. And that's just what we'll be doing in our special Leading Through Change Dreamforce series. Over the course of this month, we'll be supercharging our Leading Through Change shows as we build up to Mark Benioff's keynote on December 2nd and DreamTX later next month. Good morning. I'm Linda Aiello, and welcome to this special Leading Through Change Dreamforce Edition episode, a chance for you to hear ideas from leaders who are doing their best to get through these challenging times and support their communities. Before I hand it over to my colleague, Polly Sumner, I wanted to preview the next hour. Polly will be interviewing Zoom's Global Chief Information Officer, Harry Moseley, to discuss how Zoom has been laser focused on connecting people across the world. We'll then dive into a special demo by Meredith Brown to highlight how you can create meaningful connections, generate more pipeline, and empower sales teams to close more deals with digital marketing on the world's #1 CRM, Customer 360. After that, we'll be treated to a very special conversation and musical performance by Matt Berninger. Before we begin, make sure you go to dreamforce.com to stay up to date with all our free, publicly available Dreamforce to You 2020 content. And while you're at it, subscribe to get the latest stories from the Salesforce blog every week at salesforce.com/signup. We talk to leading trailblazers, thought leaders, and customers to learn how they're putting the customer at the center of everything they do. As we do every week on Leading Through Change, we want to help those who need it most. We are committed to doing everything we can to step up to the urgent challenge of slowing climate change and creating a sustainable, low-carbon future for all. We're proud to support American Forests, a nonprofit conservation organization building a reforestation movement in America, and we'd love you to join us. Donate online at salesforce.com/trees. Again, that is salesforce.com/trees. Now, it's my pleasure to kick it over to a conversation that Polly hosted the other day with Zoom's Chief Information Officer, Harry Moseley. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks, Linda. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Wow, this year has been like no other. And one company we've all learned that really has changed our lives is Zoom. So I am super excited today to have Harry joining us from Zoom. Harry's the global CIO for Zoom. And just a little bit of a personal story. The last time I saw Harry in person, he was hosting a panel in Davos titled Culture in the Connected World. And then I invited him over for an espresso in our lounge. And wow, Harry, the world has really changed since then. It's so good to see you again. And I was wondering, could you introduce Zoom to the audience? And then let's go back to the conversation where we left off, starting in Davos.
Absolutely, and Polly, wonderful to see you. It's just quite staggering to sit here and think the last time we saw each other was like January the 23rd, actually, to be precise, at about 3:00 in the afternoon. Because in many ways that seems like yesterday. But Zoom Video Communications, yes, we are a 9-year-old startup, founded in 2011 by Eric Yuan. We went public in April of 2019, and we provide video meetings, webinars, large meetings, webinars to 50,000 people or more. We have our Zoom Phone platform. We have our Zoom Rooms platform. We have thousands of clients all over the world focused on every industry, operating in something like 216 countries and territories around the world. We have 19 offices that are all closed. We host government on our platform. We, in February of this year, we started giving the software away for free to schools, and we now have 125,000 schools in 25 countries running on our platform. In terms of some metrics, a little under a year ago, December of 2019, we were hosting 10 million daily participants on our platform, and then that went to over 200 million in March and over 300 million in April. And in January of 2020, we were processing 100 billion annualized meeting minutes, and as of October, that number rose to in excess of 3 trillion annualized meeting minutes. The growth of the company has been staggering. We're north of 3,400 employees globally as of Q2, and our Q2 revenue was $663.5 million, representing a growth rate of 355% year on year. So it's been a journey. I joined Zoom a little over 2.5 years ago in March of 2018, and oh my God, it's kind of, I've always promised my friends. My wife was really worried that I actually sort of will execute on the promises. Like, when I finally do actually get to retire again, because I did retire once and got pulled out. I want to write a book, and sort of in the book there'll be all these different chapters about different experience. I think Zoom needs its own book.
Well, we've tried that at Salesforce too, and I'm sure that many people who are watching today have read Mark's book, but I think that's a really good idea, recording your experience, your wisdom, sharing it with others. I mean, that's kind of just a really great gift that you could give all of us. So I really, really appreciate that. When we were in Davos, we were like, I don't think we even saw this pandemic thing. And, since then, everybody's life has changed. But I think yours went and changed on warp speed, sort of on the way home. Would you like to share that story with our viewers?
Yeah, I'd love to share that story. So we met Thursday afternoon in the Salesforce lounge, having a couple of espressos, because, Davos is early mornings and late nights. And I picked up this in your on the way out, and still have it today and treasure it. So Friday went skiing. Friday night had dinner in the city with my son who works in Zurich and some friends. And so Saturday afternoon I was on the Swiss Air flight, rumbling down the runway, reading USA Today and about coronavirus. And I put the newspaper down and I sat back in my seat and I said, there must be something we can do to help. And this woman sitting next to me goes, were you talking to me? And I said, no, actually, I was just thinking out loud. So she said, what were you thinking? So I said, I was reading about coronavirus, reading about China, reading about quarantine, reading about schools shutting down, how this is spreading now to other countries. And, people must be really worried. And, the economy is, sort of going to start to slow down. Businesses are going to start to, stumble. How can we, I feel like my company should be able to help people and help the healthcare industry. So she asked me, what do we do? And I explained that. And then she said, well, how do you think you can help? It's like I said, I think I need to talk to somebody at the World Health Organization. And she goes, I think I can help you. And so she did. And that was on Saturday afternoon. Monday afternoon, talking to the CIO for the World Health Organization. So it was a pretty cool experience. So you go from that, then through February, we saw it coming. We started thinking about how we can help more, and so that's when we opened up for schools. And then I remember very clear. It was like all these special dates, Polly. It's like March the 1st, I believe, was the Sunday. It was 3:00 in the afternoon. I had a 6:00 flight, I think, out to San Francisco for the Wall Street Journal annual CIO event. Mm-hmm. And I get an email, event is canceled due to COVID-19. Okay. So do I still fly? Well, I was going to go to San Francisco for the event, which is now canceled. And then I was going to go down to San Jose to headquarters and spend a couple of days with my colleagues and team there. And I thought, I don't need to fly. I'll just cancel the flight. I'll cancel the hotel and I'll just Zoom. I haven't been on a plane since February the 25th. Yeah. And it's kind of like, every day just sort of flies by. It's all quite fascinating.
Well, I'm with you all the way. I had a little bit different experience. I actually left and then I went to my husband's birthday party, supposedly, in Australia. We were going to go to New Zealand. And we got the call that said, all Salesforce employees come back home. So I switched my life around, flew from Sydney back, and have been here ever since, so to speak. So we also had to think about, which I'm sure you have many customer experiences you could share with about what your customers are doing, but I thought I'd share ours. So the first thing that we did was we decided that we needed to make sure that, of course, health and safety of our employees were paramount in importance, and their families. But then how do we make ourselves relevant? What could we do to help our customers? Kind of like your scenario with the World Health Organization. And we started talking about what tools could we use to remain relevant. And the one we selected and use every day is Zoom. So what we did was Mark came to us and said, hey, I want to make a challenge. I want everybody in the company to participate in talking with our customers. And we're going to have a 1 million Zoom challenge. And we're going to record it in our CRM app. And I'm going to hold every one of you, no matter whether you are a salesperson, whether you're a service person, whether you're a developer, if you're in finance, I want you to do your part. I want you to make a Zoom call to somebody who's one of our customers or that works and uses Salesforce or is attached to the Salesforce community some way. And I want you to reach out to them and listen with empathy and just let them know that we're here for them. Now, we thought that million Zooms would take us a year, but I guess it's a little bit of the law of big numbers. We were done in less than 90 days. So now we've upped it to 5 million Zooms. So we've tried to make it super fun, programmatic, and part of the new way we operate here at Salesforce. I'm sure you have some other examples from other customers. You don't even have to tell us their names. You could just call them a bank or a gas station or whatever it is. But could you share like a story that's inspired you?
Yeah, there's several that come to mind. One is our own actually.
Okay.
So at Zoom, we've established so that no internal Zoom meetings on a Wednesday. So Wednesdays are for like catch up. Either on your own or reaching out to clients or reaching out to partners, but it's all it's kind of like this. There's no you're unless there's of course something critical that needs to be dealt with. But the objective is to try and avoid meeting internally only on Wednesdays, which is to try and break up the week. One of the CIOs, I spoke to one of our clients. He does something really interesting. He used to fly to different parts of the world to meet with different teams. Obviously, he is not doing that right now. So what does he do? Every day he makes a list at random of 10 people in a different city somewhere in the world. And then he'll call them on Zoom. Not necessarily in his organization, not necessarily, but somewhere in his company. And he'll just call them and he'll say, hey, hi, it's like, I'm John Doe and I'm the CIO and I just wanted to call you and see how you're doing. He says the reactions are amazing from like, did I do something wrong? It's like to, wow, it's kind of like, I've heard about you. It's kind of like, and you're calling me. Yes, I'm just calling to see how you're doing, how you're not about work, not about the company, but like just kind of like what you were saying, just sort of be empathetic and check in on people because at the end of the day, it's people that make everything happen.
Yeah. I love your no internal meetings on Wednesdays. We kind of have health and well-being built into our daily lives now. That in the beginning, we started things like sessions about meditation or really great experiences with people who are focused on people's mental health, And very quickly, within like 2 weeks, we had tons of our employees saying, can my family join? Could my kids join? Can my friends join? And so we've just kind of opened that whole thing up, which has been just a really, really great, opportunity for sharing and also for learning from each other, which I know Zoom plays a big part of your mission in life.
One of the things, I don't know if you've done this at Salesforce, but many of our clients have done this. They said, listen, Zoom is, we license Zoom, we have the licenses. And so, as employees, if you want to connect with your family and friends around the world, please feel free to use the Zoom license. to do that. It's not restricted only to sort of like the company's business.
Yeah.
You can leverage that license because you're working from home. It's like, well, so you can, Zoom with grandma in Australia, and it's like no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've all learned how to lean in a bit more. We have been a company that its marketing programs have been led by events, whether those events are our company and another company or one-to-one, or, something as big as Dreamforce. So boom, all that went away because we had only thought of it, imagined it, executing it in a physical world. And now in a virtual world with tools like Zoom, we're able to we still can't create the three-dimensional experience, but we can create some doggone great video and engagement experiences. So I can't thank you enough for your platform.
Pleasure. Happy to do that. Did you manage to catch any of the Zoomtopia events that we did? Zoomtopia is our annual user conference, and so Eric was actually on a green screen stage. I don't know if you saw that. So he was kind of like we created this sort of virtual mountain that was so we were able to sort of have him sort of in the air, if you will. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I'm sure everybody will want to watch it, and they can probably just find it by Googling Zoom.
If you Google Zoomtopia 2020,
okay,
I think it's out on YouTube. Yeah,
that's great. Super. So, now that we've sort of redefined the way we work, I think there's many aspects of business. I loved that you had KPIs that were not financial when you were talking about how you think about growth. And, I'm the chief adoption officer here at Salesforce. We had a bit of that conversation when we first met. And I feel that, that's a new way for people to think about how they define success of their companies. And you've been really focused at Zoom on impact to the community. Your airplane ride story that you told was just one of them. So how have you rethought the role of Zoom in this new world in terms of impact on communities or impact on, the other things that you do in a foundation in a giving kind of way? What's going on there?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, on a personal level, I think sort of giving back is we've been very fortunate in our careers and working for great brands and great companies. And so I think it's incumbent upon those people who have been fortunate to help those who have been less fortunate. And so, when you think about what we did in the education industry alone, giving the software away for free to 125,000 schools in 25 countries. And that in its own right was sort of very rewarding. And in the summer we to follow on from that, because when we did that the schools just launched right in with Zoom, and you can't just take in the schools and education, you can't just take what you do as a teacher and say, okay, now I can sit in front of a screen and do exactly the same thing. It's like you have to rethink. It's not just distance learning. The notion is distance teaching. Distance teaching is very different than teaching a class in a room. So we launched the Zoom Academy over the summer, which was again something that we chose to do, and we trained over 35,000 educators on how to teach Zoom in the upcoming school year, so that they would be sort of educated, so to speak, on how to do distance teaching. And then we have our Zoom Cares program. In October, we did our first major grant of $1.5 million, and with matching gift to 6 organizations that again, promote education. That's you. Thank you. That promote education equity. And then climate change, something that was very core to when we were in Davos. There was a lot of discussion around climate change and the carbon footprint. So we estimated between January and September that Zoom has helped reduce 45 million metric tons of carbon emissions by enabling millions of people to connect and to work from home, or not just work from home, actually work from anywhere. During this pandemic. And then lastly, we do things like TechSoup discounts, with more than 20,000 organizations worldwide receiving, discounts, 50% discounts on Zoom services, and almost 80% of those organizations have budgets of $1 million or less. So we're trying to do, as my mother would say, it's kind of like, worry about the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves. So I think everybody doing their piece, and then it all comes together, and you can have like a really big impact. But it's all playing together nicely, which makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, I think, to me, 1 trillion of anything is totally unimaginable. But when I think about our, trillion trees, it's kind of the same thing. Everybody plant one, and miraculously, all those pennies will turn into, a big impact in the world. So that's really great. Could we switch a little bit back to a little something about professionalism, and what does a CIO of a Zoom do? I mean, what does your role encompass? Does it encompass the service plus all the operations? I mean, can you kind of talk about that? It's kind of unique in a tech company to be a CIO.
Yeah. So, when I go back to my prior roles, when I was at KPMG or Blackstone, Credit Suisse, UBS, sort of in roles there, it was all around the network and the infrastructure and the projects and the ERP systems and support systems and help desk systems and stuff like that. So at Zoom, I'm, I have a very special role at Zoom as being the global CIO. And so I talk to many of our clients, many of our enterprise clients all around the world there, and I do executive briefings with them. And because I've shared their pain, I understand what it's like, what they're trying to achieve. And I can talk to them about our technology architecture, our technology differentiation, and then facilitate these companies as their executive sponsor, as well as doing thought leadership and hosting events all around the world. Polly, I think I've got the best job in the world. I really do. Not just because I'm the CIO for Zoom. It's I actually really love what I do every day. And, this working from home model has been terrific for a variety of reasons. And, but it's great because, sort of there was a day, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I got up, I did a press interview in Frankfurt, then I did a keynote in Tel Aviv, then I did a bunch of local events here on the East Coast, did some on the West Coast, and ended up doing a keynote in Tokyo at 11 o'clock at night. It was a really long day, but it's I was so wired the whole day. It's kind of because it's just great, and being the CIO at Zoom is an awful lot of fun. I'm very privileged to have this role. I don't take it for granted ever, and it's very different to sort of anything I've done before. But on the other hand, it leverages everything I've done before.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's almost like your story is about what we dreamed of when we were kids. Could we actually do time travel? I mean, kind of like the digital version of what it must have been like when airplanes first took to the sky and changed the trip from, 8 days on the Queen Mary between London and New York to, a matter of hours. So very interesting.
Yeah, you actually are reminding me of something. So, it's I was when I started working from home full time in March, I said to my wife, I need to clean out my office because unlike you or everybody else I know, who keep their offices tidy, I had stacks of stuff, and it's I'll deal with this another day. I'll deal with it. And it's kind of the stacks were growing up. I had room for my laptop right in the middle of all the stacks, but it's I didn't want to spend 12, 14 hours a day in such a messy place. I said I'd clean it up. When I'm cleaning it up, I came across a cartoon that was sent to me in November of 1990.
Wow.
So this is a 30-year-old cartoon, and it was a very special cartoon. It was given to me by a member of my team, and it's a woman standing in front of a mainframe, looking at her watch, and the guy standing next to her goes, look at this, look at this. She's pulling up the data on her watch from the mainframe. It was a cartoon back then.
Yeah.
Today we can do that with wearables. It's quite fascinating. So technology is like, rather amazing.
I agree. I do have a personal challenge for you, though, to think through at Zoom. One of the things that I really enjoy about meeting with customers is not just the conversation, but it's actually sharing food. You mentioned the espressos that we have. There's something magic that happens when you share that. So maybe we could ask that amazing Zoom development team of yours to figure out how to do a Zoom dinner where it automatically shows up at my door. We sit down, the table.
We can do that.
It's like so cool. I think it would be just great in my life. I will volunteer to be your #1 customer.
You're done. We'll have dinner. We can do that with Andrew and a couple of other people. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. Another thing that's very different when you mentioned about cleaning up your office is instead of having a meeting in an office that's separate from where we live, we're actually now inviting our customers into our homes. Like the picture behind you on the wall, this photo I took on the beach here. It's kind of a different way. And one of the things that is super enjoyable for me, not always for the other person in the Zoom, is when people's kids or, sometimes dogs walk into the room. Sometimes it's the plumber who's working in the other room that has to cut through or whatever. So, how do you feel about, you have a funny story for us about some Zoom experience or something that's happened to you?
Lots of stories. I think that just going back to your point about sort of being in people's homes, there was an article in one of the newspapers. I think it was like in April of this year, and it was a terrific article. And it was like the following: "Social distancing, you must be joking." That was kind of like the headline. And now you read it, and it's like, I never thought I would know this much about the people I work with in my entire life.
Yeah.
I've been in their homes. I've met their parents, I've met their grandparents, I've met their kids, I've met their dogs, their cats. I've even met snakes. I've been in their kitchens, their living rooms, their dining rooms, their family rooms. I've even been in some bedrooms and in an occasional bathroom. And I was actually on a board meeting, and the CEO was doing his executive presentation. And so his wife comes into the office and she goes, "Sweetheart, I need you to hold the baby." And he's like, "I'm in the middle of giving my board meeting, my executive presentation to the board." And she goes, "Okay, but that's an answer to a different question. I said, can you hold the baby? I didn't ask you what you were doing." And so I need to go outside. And here, so now he's sitting in the board meeting, holding the baby, going through his presentation. There's 12 of us all on Zoom. Nobody says a word. This is because this is the real life. This is the real world. It's like, and it's, and I think that's completely fine. I think, sort of seeing the cat's tail go past, seeing the dog jump up, Oh, there was another one. It's like I was on with a client one day and we're having this conversation and she goes, Billy, the FedEx man, quick, make sure he takes the box. And she goes, "Sorry, we've had this return and, we're up here in upstate New York and the FedEx guy doesn't come by that frequently." So so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's like we're all sort of normal and we have families and things happen. So I think the world, look, nobody wished for the COVID-19 coronavirus. It's like we really could have done without this for a fact. But I think, whilst it's hard, we have to look at all these silver linings. And I think one of the silver linings that we'll take away from this is we don't need so much stress in our lives. We can be a little bit more relaxed. Work is work. We work for great companies and great brands like Salesforce, like Zoom. So I think that sometimes we can just be a little too intense about our work and our behaviors. And I think that this is a lesson for us all to take away of just chill. Let's just chill a little bit. It's kind of like, it's good.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I really like is the notion of being able to work from anywhere. Even though I've kind of assigned myself to a place in my house that if the door's shut, other people don't like just barge into if they don't have to. They do when necessary. But I've also started a new experiment, which is to just run my Zoom calls with my headset and be walking somewhere, something that lets me blend the outside inside thing. And I think that's helped me a lot, get a different kind of chill around work-life balance, because before, man, I was like sitting in the same place the whole time, and that wasn't so good. So it's sort of, now I think my backyard is my office, my, front porch. It's really been a big way to sort of let some of that go, to just have a conversation in a different location with a different experience.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's kind of like, it's kind of funny. What's today? Tuesday, Monday. So on Friday, on Monday, I was talking to a member of my team and who lives here in Brooklyn, and so I said to her, that was a hell of a storm that we had last night. I mean, like, it was monsoon rains. It was like we had, sort of hurricane force winds. I mean, it was crazy outside. And so I said, how was it for you? She said, oh, I missed the whole thing. And I'm like, oh. Said, yeah, Matt and I drove to Florida over the weekend. We're down here for a couple of weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like perfectly fine. It's like, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been amazed by the number of people who have been driving around the U.S. and ending up in different places on the weekends and staying, visiting friends and family. So it's kind of a blend of how you connect again. Yeah.
Yeah, I read about a family, I think from Philadelphia, because their kids are getting, sort of Zoom schooled all the time. So they, they're traveling, he and his wife and the kids, they're just traveling the whole time, literally around the nation. They bought an RV, and the kids are getting educated over Zoom in the RV. And
wow,
it's
that's
like,
amazing.
yeah, that's out of the box.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, Harry, we're going to close up now. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? I know we've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope there have been some really great takeaways for everybody, but your chance to close it up, and then we'll turn it back to Linda.
Yeah, sure. So this was wonderful, Polly. I think that there's, as I said before, there's lots of lessons learned. I mean, it's, prior to COVID-19, probably like you, I used to be on 3 or 4 flights a week. I don't think I'm going to do that, at any point in the future ever again. Not because of COVID-19. I suspect that we will get back to being able to do things like that. Mm-hmm. But I've come to the realization, and I think many others have, that sort of video is the new voice. I always believed it, but now I think, the masses really believe it. More people are turning on cameras today, sort of than ever before. So that's, and really appreciate my, sort of my home, my family, and so it's been a lot of reflection over these last several months about sort of things I want to change in my personal life.
Wow. Harry, that was great. What great. Thanks for sharing those experiences. I feel like everybody gets to know each other in a very different way. Maybe they're, oh my goodness, who the heck is that? Oh, somebody needs a nap, I think.
I just woke him up. This is Hershey.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 9-month-old golden doodle.
Wow.
So he's a consequence of coronavirus. So we got him in April.
Awesome. How cool is that?
And he comes to work with me every day. He knows all the signs. He knows when I go to the water faucet and get a glass of water. Oh, Daddy's off to the office. Here we go. And so He's a lot
That's
of fun.
great. So how big is this 9-month puppy? If we see his paws, we'll know how big he's going to be, right? Isn't that the famous thing about dog? Oh my goodness. You are in for an entirely room-sized doghouse, I'm telling you.
He's 45 pounds, but our previous puppy was a Bernese mountain dog.
Wow.
He was 130 pounds, and
Yes.
he had a heart attack and died in January of 2018.
Right.
So,
well, how wonderful for you and your family to start over with a new member, shall we say, a new participant, and that's fantastic.
He's a Zoomie. He's on Zoom all the time because sometimes he gets tired sitting around and he says, "Oh my God, he's so yawning." Sometimes he gets a little tired and he wants to climb up on my lap, and so he'll join in the Zoom meeting. So that's always fun.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing, Harry. We really appreciate it. And Linda, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thanks so much, Polly and Harry, and for the guest appearance from Hershey there. What a great conversation. So now I'm excited to hand it off to my colleague, Meredith, for more on the power of digital marketing. Over to you, Meredith.
Thank you, Linda. So today I'm going to tell you all the story about how I became a happy Zoom customer. We all been on a lot of Zooms lately, so we know when a video call goes bad. And I was coming off of one of those really bad meetings. Let me tell you what happened. So I'm decompressing on my social media feed, and I come across this ad for Zoom. Now, I'm not super surprised because we all know the new Zoom brand at this point, don't we? But what's pretty cool here is the timing of this advertising. It was pretty magical. Now, this is the power of Salesforce's Advertising Studio, listening and creating personalized experiences for me right here in my feed. So I decide I'm going to click through and I head over to the Zoom website, and I'm pleasantly surprised that this experience resonates for me because I'm looking for flawless video, clear audio, and instant sharing. And I'm ready to kick the tires. So I sign up for a free account and I'm on my way. So what's happening with the Zoom marketing team behind the scenes? Well, normally they'd be in this lovely office in San Jose, but they're at home. So we're going to take a look at what's happening through the eyes of the Zoom marketing team. They're analyzing the results from all of the campaigns that they've been running lately. And here we have this amazing account-based marketing dashboard. And you can see all the new pipeline that's been generated from the website from all of these channels. The top of the list is the Salesforce technology and products account. The behavior score here is really high because prospects in this account are doing their homework. They're starting to read all of the amazing material that the marketing team is putting out there. However, this account has a problem because the sales activities are way too low. How are they going to close these accounts with such little sales activity? But the marketing team has an idea. They're going to help the sales team with a brand new library of email templates. Let's go into the email template builder and create some right now. Now, this isn't any email template builder. This is a builder built on the Salesforce platform. So it means it has extensibility built in with thousands of solutions from the App Exchange, like this Vidyard video. They can just drag it right onto the canvas. Now, we need to make sure that this is going to look amazing to anyone who sees the email. We want it to be personalized, and we want to make sure that it's going to look great across any device. Now they have the confidence they need to put these templates in the hands of the sales team. So let's take a look at what's happening with the sales team. We have Christine. She's an enterprise account executive, and she's starting her day in the Lightning app. She has the exact same view of the data right here. Let's go in and take a look at that account. She clicks in, and she has Einstein here guiding her and letting her know that the revenue in this account is looking pretty good. She also receives some recommendations on what they can do to improve. Einstein is providing the insights and analytics to know what's happening with the decision makers. We can see that engagement is trending up, and we can see all of the engagement from those campaigns. The marketing team is really attracting buyers in this account. And not surprising, I'm one of the most engaged prospects because I did my homework. I went to some webinars and other virtual events. I want to make sure this is the best solution for my team. So Christine clicks in to my record, and here's Einstein reinforcing that there's a high behavior score. I'm showing those buying signals. What's also pretty cool here is that she can see my journey over the past 90 days, all the different ways I've been doing that research. Now we can take all of this data, all of these insights, and with my permission, Christine is going to get the next best offer in front of me. Well, you can see here that the marketing team has really teed things up. And Christine knows it's on her to get in front of me and get this deal closed. She's going to use email to check my availability. And she has this beautiful template here. And she's on her way to closing another deal. And that's how you create meaningful connections, generate more pipeline, and empower sales teams to close more deals with marketing on the world's #1 CRM. Back to you, Linda.
Thanks, Meredith. That was great. Now, you all know the drill. If you want to see today's musical performance and interview with Matt Berninger, please go to Salesforce Live right now. That's salesforce.com/live. So if you're watching us on Twitter, head over to Salesforce Live right now, salesforce.com/live.